Welcome to Extra Question, the show where I ask my interviewee an extra question. All the way from one comedian questions, and the topic does follow on from a segment from within the interview. It's the comedian Siobhan Dodd. Now, my extra question is for anyone at home that's interested, how, in your own personal opinion, would someone go about learning BSL?
Good extra question. What you would do is you would get on your old computer or your phone and you type in signature. That's like the word signature, Signature. I can't spell it out loud. I just did it in sign language though, which was really impressive. You go on signature, formerly known as NRCPD,
Mm,
and you will see Learn BSL. Click on the Learn BSL bit, find a course, and you click on find a course. There should be a drop down menu and you click on BSL level 1
yeah,
and you do that, you click on that, it tells you where the colleges are that you can go
yeah,
to. It does cost a fair bit, but that is the best way to learn is
yeah,
face to face. I know there are a lot of people learning online, and in thinking in COVID there's a lot more online
yeah,
learning that started to happen, but I think for British Sign Language, because it is a face to face language,
yeah,
it really is better to see people face to face. Go to Deaf Pub, hang out with deaf people. There used to be a really good deaf pub in Leicester Square every Wednesday,
yeah,
but unfortunately that doesn't run anymore.
yeah,
So yeah, that's the best thing you can do. Or go to university, like Harriet Watt, I think, do a theatre and deaf studies degree now. My course unfortunately doesn't exist anymore that I did.
ah,
Wolverhampton Uni do an interpreting course and
yeah,
British Sign Language course. So yeah, but definitely look at Signature website, find
yeah,
a course, and I recommend it. It's a good language.
yeah. And why? And this is what's really bugged me. And now that I've got the opportunity to say it out loud to someone that will
Yeah.
actually understand what on earth I'm on about. If you have HBO Max, I know it's an American service, but it's in Britain. Do you think it's not great that there is alternate? You can watch like The Pit with
Mm.
with sign language, but it's only ASL. Do you think a service like HBO Max should have redone all those programs with BSL before it launched, or do you think that it's just poor marketing that they're there?
Oh, so hang on. So HBO Max have interpreted programs in ASL?
Yeah, so it's all in it. So you can you can watch most programs, but only in ASL.
Oh, I mean, to be fair, that's just a product of what country it's from, isn't
Yeah,
it? Like
yeah,
it's an American company, an American show, so yeah, it will make sense they have ASL. BBC have a lot of BSL
yeah,
interpreted programs. So I don't think that it being particularly, obviously it would be lovely if they could do it in BSL as well. But it would take a lot of time to get everything
yeah,
BSL interpreted. So yes, that is the dream and that would be ideal.
yeah,
But I think countries are going to have the sign language reflected of
yeah,
the
yeah,
of where the program is made. I think
yeah,
that's kind of
yeah.
normal and natural.
Yeah, and then Disney started doing Disney interpret BS ASL some of their films, some of their most popular music. So it's what's that? Oh, that we don't talk about Bruno.
Don't talk about
They've
Bruno.
ASL'd that
Oh, amazing.
for a special, and they did Frozen and whatnot. I don't know if it was
Oh,
Let It Go, but they've done it in ASL, and people
yeah,
people were slightly annoyed because obviously
mm,
it was only in ASL. No one had thought
yeah,
we need ISL, we need Australian ASL, we need
yeah.
ESL and whatnot. But I think, and this is the best platform to say my favourite tagline of all, is we should all be watching BSL Zone, aka Lumo TV, because of one reason and one reason only, the sketch show Death Funny. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I'm so that's to hear people who I know are probably not necessarily in the dev community
uh,
know about Lumo and BSL Zine Zone. It's awesome.
I don't know if you've ever seen
Yeah.
the incredible Death Funny.
Mm.
Right, Ben Rufus Green and Gemma Arrowsmith, who are both in
I know
it,
it's great.
they are
I was in a sketch with him years ago.
They
I
are
love him.
they're absolutely divine people of all. Ben Rufus Green does Washing Up Club on a Sunday on Twitch, which is
Oh,
hilarious.
yeah.
Because he's actually got some incredible musician to make him a theme tune, and it's on Spotify as well. It's that incredible. But he did a sketch in Death Funny that's incredible.
Is
It's
this Deaf Mugger?
no, that was his own personal thing. So he
Yeah,
did.
I was in the sequel to that, How to Mug a Deaf Person. I
So
was
he
in
was
that
in
one. I
Death.
played the interpreter.
Wow, he was in Death
Yeah,
Mug. He did Death Mugger that ended up having them both of them end up being in Reunion, the BBC one crime drama Reunion that was
I
incredible.
loved it. Reunion was incredible, and those
Oh,
actors. That was one where I knew every person,
yeah,
every single.
but that's what I really like about it. When you watch the behind the scenes, it's about the fact that so many people graduated from the BSL Zone
Mm,
School of Making TV, and I did it because I recently graduated uni, and one of the things we had to do, we had to talk about something that inspired us. And I
mm,
talked about Reunion and how incredible it
yeah,
was. The
mm,
previous term, we were doing well, I daren't mention, we were doing something with deafness. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but
mm,
we had to talk about what channel we were going to commission it. I had to stand on my own 2 feet and say we're doing it for the BSL zone because
yeah.
it's incredible. Anyway, but Deaf Funny, more to be point, has a sketch on it where this woman, she's in this pub, she walks in and she types on her phone, "Have you ever kissed a deaf person?" Then
Mm.
she passes memory for the screen and it reads, "Have you ever kissed a dead person?" And then he runs off because he's like really much traumatized. And it's just incredible because it's universal. The comedy there is
Mm,
universal. And then Gemma Arrowsmith does the classic sketches where you've got the interpreter that doesn't know much about interpreting, and she's playing like the political figure, it just works really incredible because he's like the butt of the joke. There's
yeah,
a small world, which is Friends
yeah.
but deaf. Ben Ruff's screened in that as well as the neighbour
Ian
next
as
door.
well. Oh, I know. I've seen a lot of the clips from that. I need to.
So
David Sands is a lovely. He's
yeah,
also doing the comedy circuit now. He's
yeah.
great. He's in that as well.
But
And it's really satisfying to hearing people recognize and
yeah,
like where Reunion was so good to see this deaf talent because I'm in that community. I
yeah,
know that there's talent that's out
yeah.
there, but to actually see it, going out to the mainstream and see people recognize it is
Yeah.
great.
But one of the things that really makes it really funny is that when you
Mm.
when you then see adverts for the BSL zone and Lumo TV and whatnot, and you see Ben Roof screening in the advert, then you say, "Oh, Ben, I saw you in this advert," and he won't mind me saying this because I've said it before, but it was the fact that he then gets slightly upset because when he was sorting out the contract, he doesn't earn any residuals from appearing in the Facebook adverts for it,
Oh,
and so it makes me laugh because it's like. I see him all the time, and he's always the first face to
mm.
appear in it, sitting in a waiting room because obviously that's one of the sketches. And then the final one I'll mention because I'm not mentioning the one that is winning BAFTAs. Code of Silence. Yes, it was fantastic, but Rose lives within the far superior Reunion, as we all know now. Code of Silence was good, but Reunion was far better. Should have won a BAFTA. Should have won a
Yeah,
BAFTA.
that was
Rob,
brilliant.
it's the panel show, Random, with Gary Little. I've not seen his name right, but he is the interpreter for John Bishop, and
Okay.
so he has his own panel show. But do you think that having Lumo TV appear in something like the British Comedy Guide and having like four
Mm.
Deaf Yorkshiremen, which is like Last of Summer Wine, but
Yeah.
just slightly more, well, Last of Summer Wine, incredible, but in that world and having it appear on the British Comedy Guide, do you think that's a positive step for deaf
Yep.
TV?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Very
yeah,
positive. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, of course. Anything that spotlights. And actually, it gave me hope. A couple of years ago, there was suddenly a lot more deaf theatre and deaf
yeah,
TV and a lot of theatre companies that want to use deaf talent, which is awesome. But of course, on the other side, we have Reform, who are trying to get in and they are looking
yeah,
to suppress disabled and deaf people. Obviously, Labour have been cutting
yeah,
disability benefits. So it's a confusing thing. We've got all this progress and I'm seeing more and more barriers
yeah,
and more discrimination, and things are still really hard.
yeah,
And access to work has been threatened with closure. So deaf and disabled artists and many
yeah,
professionals are suddenly having their supports cut. So it's like, okay, well, what do we want then, guys? Do you want
yeah,
this? Can we go in this? Can we keep going in this direction? And if you want to be inclusive, you've got to commit to it. You
yeah,
can't then just change your mind and not do it fully. And you've got
yeah,
to be guided by deaf and disabled people
yeah,
as well. It's really
yeah,
important.
yeah. And I just think that at one point or another, I think. you've got to eventually, because there's so much deaf comedy and there's so much, you're going to stop calling it deaf comedy. You're just going to
Yeah,
call it comedy. Because at the beginning, you have to clarify it deaf comedy to make people aware that it exists. Because
yeah.
you want, at this point in time, we want people to know about it. And once enough people know about it, then we remove the word deaf and it's just pure comedy.
Yeah, so that there is that to an extent.
Yeah,
However, I have a piece that I would do for a deaf audience. So my set is just
yeah,
me doing stand up. It's not particularly, I have signed it before, but it's not
yeah,
particularly translatable. And the jokes are really, they're aimed at a hearing audience.
yeah,
If I was to play to a deaf audience, I would do different comedy because it is a different language and culture. So there will be, so I have another piece that I would do for a
yeah,
for a deaf audience. Does that make sense? So
yeah,
yes, of course, a deaf comedian performing to a hearing crowd, and David Sands is one who's brilliant,
yeah,
and Caroline Parker, they're doing the circuit, and Sophie Woolley, they're doing the
yeah,
circuit, the mainstream circuit, and they're brilliant. And of course, a hearing audience can enjoy them and take them in.
yeah,
Um, but there are still going to be times where you want to actually be like, you know what, this
yeah,
is deaf comedy for a deaf audience, and
yeah,
other times where you're like, this is a deaf comedian performing for a hearing
yeah,
audience. Does that make sense? So
yeah.
they, I think a deaf comic would also adjust their set depending on who the crowd, depending on if it's a deaf
Yeah.
audience or a hearing audience.
The other thing, I say it quite often when someone new comes to Washing Up Club, I always then say, have you seen Death Funny? Have you seen Smallwood? Because they are, the worth talking about. I'm just gutted that series two onwards of Death Funny never made it onto anything else. Only series one is available. They should have just put him on DVD. And there's a character, I don't know what I can't remember what he's called now, but there was a spin-off of one of the Smallwood characters, the Annie's Own thing where he tried to get a
Chris
real job.
Baker.
Yeah, yeah,
That's David Sands. That's my friend, David
yeah.
Sands, who's doing the circuit.
It's brilliant because it's like
Lovely.
it's how annoying it's how like he's blissfully unaware that the woman he's
Yeah.
with cannot stand him, and the fact that she's like just really annoyed, and he's just like happy and just goes about his day.
Oh,
It's
I'm going to tell him that you. Oh, hello, we're back.
uh, uh,
I'm going to tell him I was just interviewed for a podcast, and the host was telling me about this spin-off, Chris Baker.
yeah,
Oh, he'll be
it's
happy.
it's one of those things that I think that once you know about the BSL zone, you have to go for
Hmm.
it. I think people think it's odd that I know so much about TV, but to that extent where I know that angle,
Yeah.
people think that's really weird. But once you know that, you learn there's ways of making things accessible. You have to make things accessible, and that's what's really fascinating for me is that I try. I mean, I don't. I'm not the most skilled person in the universe, but I try and make sure that things are as accessible as possible. I do a lot of audio description stuff, where I audio describe some of my videos.
Oh, great.
And
Okay.
there's an audio description version. I've not mastered the art of doing ones where I'm talking horrendously for a good 20 minutes. I've worked on them
Yeah.
where there's a lot of blank pauses, or I deliberately shove in pauses so that I can
Mhm.
add the audio description to explain what's going on.
I mean, I confess when I started my podcast, I wanted to have every single episode on YouTube fully subtitled,
Yeah.
but it took me so long. It took me so long. I did a couple, and there wasn't necessarily the uptake. The
Yeah.
community weren't like, "Oh, I need to watch you talk for an hour. That's great.
Yeah.
Please do more." Like,
Yeah.
I would love to do more, but I have at some point you go, you know what? I have two children. I'm an interpreter and a comedian,
Yeah.
and the laundry baskets are just always overflowing.
Yeah.
I can't like you know what I mean? I want to do it,
Yeah.
and I will do if obviously if there's something that is going to be really relevant to the deaf community, then I will prioritize doing that.
Yeah.
It's on my to-do list.
Yeah.
I do have every clip that I put on social media is subtitled,
Yeah.
which I think a lot of people are doing now.
Yeah.
But I make sure because some people do it, but they don't really put much care in it. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you get the subtitles right. You've got to. It annoys me though. People are only doing subtitling now that it can get them likes, and they're
Yeah.
not. They wouldn't do it because of deaf people.
Yeah.
It's like it's cool now. It's
Yeah.
fashionable now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put, and I would love to, I had one episode of the podcast, the Following Through podcast, where we had an interpreter. We had two
Wow.
interpreters translate it into BSL,
Yeah.
and that was great. But you know, it takes a lot of time. It takes
Yeah.
a lot of work, money to do
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
yeah, just at the stage I'm at now, unfortunately, I don't always have the
Yeah.
resources to make everything as
Yeah.
accessible as I would like.
Yeah. And so there we have it. That is extra questions. Is the government watching? Get your finger out and get that BSL GCSE done and dusted. Thank you very much. That's my closing statement.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.